It looks like there's some real shenanigans there. At the very least, there was voting machines that weren't working properly, and it seems very suspicious that a lot of them were in Republican areas.
What's going on, you guys? Today we have Joe Rogan going full-blown MAGA. The Vanguard is calling him out. Joe Rogan has made it too obvious. I'm giving my commentary as well. Let's watch.
Like expecting to see Joe Rogan just go this fucking crazy. Full stop the steal. You never go full stop the steal, but Joe Rogan did.
How much election fraud do you think is real?
Here we go, Joe. You want to go to election fraud?
Yeah, because I don't think it's zero.
No,
It's
no
not
way.
zero. I think we could all agree it's not
No
zero.
way it's not zero.
And we know that these voting machines can be fucked with.
Yeah.
And we know
Yeah.
that there's some
He immediately
irregularities.
Yeah, this is such a parody of the Joe Rogan experience. This reminds me a lot of that like Tim Heidecker performance art. It was like the
Yes.
fake Joe Rogan. You know, it's like, let's talk about election fraud. Oh, you want to talk about election fraud? Election fraud? It does exist, huh? Oh, you betcha. It sure does. And it does happen. Oh yeah, that's crazy, man. Those machines, they can be fucked with. I did hear about that. I read an article saying they can be, fucked with at any time.
They got people in high school with computers hacking into these things, man. I've seen an article about it on the internet.
Yup. Oh my god.
All that Kerry Lake stuff in Arizona
Yeah.
that they're trying to dismiss, it doesn't look like that's invalid. It looks like there's real fraud there. It looks like there's some real shenanigans there. At the very least, there was voting machines that weren't working properly, and it seems very suspicious that a lot of them were in Republican areas. There's a lot of shenanigans.
This is the guy you guys are getting your medical advice from, PSA, right? Hey, this is the guy. This is the level of analysis and scrutiny that's going. I think Carrie Lake was on to something. I think that she was, man. That's the lady that.
I mean, yeah, sure. We can talk about voter fraud. We can talk about voter suppression. Let's talk about these voting restrictions. How about that? In Ohio, they restricted in-person voting to just four forms of ID, which all must be unexpired. Right. So if you're talking about suppression, and that's just one example, wanting to suppress low-income individuals, because it's a lot harder to go and get these different forms of ID if you're working all the time or, just if you're in a tough spot. In 2023, a federal court ruled that Alabama's electoral map intentionally discriminated against black voters. They were reducing the number of majority black congressional districts. It is all over the place. You want to talk about voter suppression, voting fraud. This is happening. And as far as I'm concerned, Alabama's pretty freaking conservative to me.
When I listen to her, I'm like, yeah, she seems reasonable. Yikes.
Right. And of course, she ran for governor of Arizona and lost to the Democratic candidate. Arizona, if you guys remember, was the same state that they spent all that money to do the recount in for Trump, because everyone was so convinced that Trump actually won Arizona. So they did this whole recount. Yeah, shout out to the Couch Potato podcast. They wouldn't, covered it in person. But yeah, there was this whole recount and all these Trump supporters hyped up their audiences saying like, oh, guys, this is going to be, when this recount, when these results come out, the whole narrative's going to change, because once this domino falls, they're all going to start falling. And then it actually came out that Biden got even more votes in Arizona than had been previously counted. Trump lost by even more of a margin that previously had been reported. So it seems like the voting machines, if they're at all fucked up in Arizona, they're actually undercounting Democrats, not Republicans, because the recount actually proved that Biden got more votes than was originally reported. So it's just insane for Rogan to give any sort of like credence to this insane conspiracy theory, which is espoused by someone who is very obviously an insane person. I mean, it's not that hard to tell that Kerry Lake is not a credible source for information.
100%. And even if you look at the Fox, Dominion voting machine settlement, they were going to lose their fucking ass if they took that to court. That's why they had to settle, because it was so clear as day, the evidence contradicting what had been broadcast as news knowingly on their platform. You're going to tell me that, no, all of that was a cabal, bro. All of that was rigged, bro. All that was rigged. But this one lady, Carrie Lake, Donald Trump's fucking, most loyal soldier.
Yep.
Fucking crazy.
Yep. I can't believe this.
How long until he goes into QAnon?
Oof. We're getting close.
I think there's coordinated efforts to make
If you guys like this recap, make sure to like and subscribe for more.
sure that certain people get elected. I don't know how far they go.
Those are
but
called
I know
campaigns.
It's not zero.
It's
Yeah.
called a campaign.
A coordinated effort to get people elected. I engaged in one
literally-
of those in 2016 and 2020. You know, I was part of a coordinated campaign to get a guy named Bernie Sanders into the White House. It was a covert mission.
It's insanity, dude. He's like, bro, I think a lot of people probably banded together and tried to make this happen. It's like, you don't say, dude. You don't say. You ever turn on the television and see advertise? Like, what are you talking about? There was definitely a concerted effort to get these people in office. No shit. Otherwise, you lose, idiot.
Oh my god.
This is the kind of guy that everybody's like, this guy's the working man's genius.
Right.
No,
Well
he's
said.
not. That's me, damn it.
So yeah, there we have it, you guys. We have the Vanguard going in on Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan is wanting to say that there is voting fraud and different things that are going on behind the scenes to get someone elected. I do believe that that's taking it, a step far. I think that that is going a little bit conspiracy mode. I do believe that there are there's voter roll purging. It's another thing that happens in Ohio. They've engaged in mass voter purges. They're removing voters from the rolls because of like these little discrepancies, like minor discrepancies. It's another disproportional impact on that people that vote for Democratic candidates. It's communities that historically vote for Democratic candidates. Also, just limited access to early voting with these new restrictions that are coming in for the mail-in for the ballots. It's a crucial tool for people that are working like all the time. For people that don't have the flexibility to vote on election day, a lot of these Republicans, they're going to continue to push laws, especially Trump right now. He's pushing laws that are making it harder to vote early. They're also looking to close polling stations in certain urban areas. Again, this is resulting to longer wait times for voters that are in predominantly minority neighborhoods. These are all different ways to suppress the vote. If you see a long line out, why the hell would I wait in a line all day? But they want to close these polling stations and just make it to where they're lesser and lesser. It's a direct attack on the convenience and accessibility of voting. And the last one that I'd like to point out, many states, especially in the South, they have laws that disenfranchise people with felony convictions, even after they've served their time. This is, these are people that may have made mistakes in their past. They have past mistakes. But now they are going to, they're finding more and more blockages it's another way to disenfranchise millions of Americans. These are all different ways that, yes, I do believe that the government is getting involved, specifically Republicans getting involved to get in the way of the people's voice. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. So it's another day in the progressive way.